Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode, we've got actually the very last recorded review episode of this type that you're going to see on this set. I'm actually moving house and I'll be setting up a new set. I'm going to be doing my reviews as often as I can, and you'll probably see the set being built up around me. I don't think I'm going to be doing it immediately and then having a break or anything like that. So just to warn you, from now on we're going to be seeing a new set, so on to newer and better things. But in any case, today we've got the Big Peat over here. Not as you know it, this is the Christmas edition, cask strength for 2021. I actually covered the 2019 one of these. I covered a few iterations of Big Peat over the years, the standard Big Peat, the 10-year-old Big Peat, stuff like that. I think I even did a Big Peat tasting off at one point, which might be worth checking out if you're interested in different Big Peats. But this is one of the Douglas Laing Remarkable Regional Malts, and this is the special edition of that. They do this every year. It usually comes with a foil on here that's kind of red and white, but once I've popped the cork on these things, I don't really like the foil being around the cap, so I tend to whip that off and throw it away anyway. So that's usually the iconic thing. But you get this lovely kind of like shiny tin as well. As part of the Remarkable Regional Malts range, they basically have blends of the different regions of Scotland. This one here is the Islay blend. And this one here, so it actually tells you what's on it in it on the front, and it's just Ardbeg, Bamore, Killeela, and Port Ellen. On the back, it gives you reasons why they've chosen those, but we're not too worried about those. But it's essentially a blend of those four distilleries by Douglas Laing, and in this case, presented non-chill filtered, natural coloured, and cask strength critically. It sells for about 50 quid in the UK. I did notice when I was looking just before I recorded this that it is a little bit cheaper than that on the Douglas Laing website. So make sure you go and check that out if you're interested in getting this year, because they don't always sell out. You can sometimes get last year's one, maybe for a little bit cheaper sometimes, but always worth having a look to see what's available. In any case, let's get into the actual whiskey and see what we've got. As we said, it's natural colour, so I don't mind talking about colour for a change. Extremely light. It's not even a straw-like colour. It's like almost like a white wine kind of colour on this, but we like that. I've always said, give it to me naturally, even if it's really pale. Don't know how many years this is. It's a no-age statement whiskey, so I imagine it's fairly light in years, but that's never bothered me with a Big Peat. In fact, the 10-year-old one, obviously, is a 10-year-old age statement. They've had much higher than that as well. Exciting times, but yeah, we don't know what age this is. I imagine the youngest thing in here is only a couple of years old, but obviously over 3, but you know what I mean. Let's get onto the nose and see what we've got, shall we? Now, obviously this is peat, so if you're not into peat, this is not going to be up your street at all, but if you are, stick around. Now for me, it's more smoke than peat. It isn't kind of like a really vegetal, earthy peat, not too much anyway. Nice and sweet. There's loads of vanillas on this thing. There's kind of almost a bit of lemon going about it. Really nice nose. Really nice nose. Now for me, I can get my nose right in this. So the cask strength on this, what did I say? 52.8%. Isn't like overly high, but I mean, it's pretty high, but you know what I mean. It's not getting on for that kind of 60% sort of vibes. Let's try a bit on the palate. It's just good. It's just good. Let's try and pull out some stuff, shall we? So it starts out quite sweet, more of those vanilla-y, kind of lemony vibes coming across. Then a kind of pepperiness hits, almost like a black pepper kind of thing. But it's also quite floral as well, with a little bit of earthiness going on the back end, but not a whole heap of stuff. But let me just try another bit of that. Now, the cool thing about this being a blend of all different kinds of Islay is that, like, if you're a big fan of peat, you'll know what I mean here, but each distillery on Islay does something slightly differently. They're not all similar at all. You know, there's some earthy stuff, there's some light floral stuff. Mixing them together, you get a little bit of that entire orchestra going on at once. And it's just one that you can really sit with and pick apart. And if you really like high strength whiskey stuff, then you're going to be into this. Now, that said, who's going to be buying this sort of thing? I think, for my money, if you're a fan of peated whiskey, you are definitely going to enjoy this. One step further from that, if you're a fan of Douglas Laing, then you're definitely going to enjoy this, along with that kind of peat thing as well. But on top of that, if you've tried the Big Peat already, the standard release, the 35 quid one, and you've been umming and ahhing whether this should be something that you want to try or not, because it's a little bit more in price, is the bump up much difference? Hard to say. I would say 100% you'll get enjoyment out of this bottle, without a doubt. Whether you buy it every year or not is entirely up to you, of course. I know a lot of people do. Some people collect these things as well, but I don't recommend that. These are for the drinking for sure. So I would say 100% take a punt on it, without a doubt. And then if you find that it wasn't quite the bump up from the standard that you thought you wanted, then don't get it again next year. But I genuinely don't think you'll be disappointed with this for at least a one-off purchase. But for me, I love the standard Big Peat, and just adding that extra ABV hit into it just really makes it for me. Absolutely lovely whiskey. Definitely a thumbs up.